Killer whales are really cool. They're probably one of the most common whales that we see out of Homer in South Central Alaska. A lot of people don't know this, but there's actually multiple different species of killer whale, like bigs or transients, which are primarily mammal eaters. They eat seals. In the far north, they eat walrus and whales, other whales, mostly baleen whales. And then you have residents, which are primarily fish eaters. They go for all sorts of different types of fish, from like herring to salmon. Supposedly the favorite food, just like it's my favorite food for most killer whales, is king salmon. Like, who wouldn't want to eat king salmon? It's the best. This past summer, 2018, following the first runs of king and red salmon, we had quite a few resident killer whales in Ketchimak Bay. We were pretty much seeing them every day. So I got a little bit of footage on my phone, just kind of stuck it together. There's a lot of stuff about killer whales that I could go into. But just like the basic overview, the transients or mammal eaters are larger. They have a larger skull, typically larger body. The males on both residents and transients will have the triangular tall dorsal fin, whereas the females have like a curved fin. They're a matriarchal society or culture, or we don't quite know what to call their groups. We call them pods. They're these tight-knit family groups. And despite what you might have learned at SeaWorld, they do live longer in the wild. And they kind of time their feeding with the fluctuations in the season. They're one of the few whale species that you can see in Alaska year-round, because the king salmon is a near coastal feeder, so the orcas have something to chow on throughout the year. They're super fast, really smart, really cool, kind of playful, lots of stories. If you just talk to people who've spent time on the water in Alaska, they'll have a cool orca story. My favorite one is of an orca that grabbed a halibut. A guy was reeling up from about 200 feet and got it about halfway up, and then the orca grabbed it and went down to the bottom with it and let go. And then he started reeling it up again, and the whale came up and took a breath and did the same thing again. And when they got the fish up, it didn't have a mark on it. But I've also heard stories of them totally chowing down on a fish on the end of a line. But they have a huge brain, much bigger than ours, so they're definitely smarter at water stuff than us, by a large margin, I'm sure. And they use clicks and something like echolocation to find and capture their prey. Really cool. If you are in Alaska June, July, and August, and you spend more than one day on the water in South Central, it's not a guarantee, but your odds are pretty good of seeing some killer whales.